Sorry I kept you waiting forever and a day. But now we're out here together with nothing standing in our way. Can you feel the attraction? Feel the attraction. Can you feel it between us? This energy's inside us like electricity. Feel the love running through like electricity. Feel the love running through like electricity. Like electricity. Taking over your body, it's flowing through your mind. This feeling's got me on fire. Don't ever leave it all behind. Can you feel the attraction? Feel the attraction. Can you feel it between us? This energy's inside us like electricity. Feel the love running through like electricity. Feel the love. Can you feel me? Ooh, can you feel me?
I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight.
Okay.
We are heroes tonight. Simon. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.
I fell and lost to the war, shot me dead. I was lost and sad to the voices in my head. I gotta get up again. I gotta get up to another day. I'm not giving up again. I gotta get up. I gotta get up. I gotta get up again. I gotta get up to another day. I'm not giving up again. I gotta get up. I gotta get up. I gotta get up Look into my eyes. My heart beats like a drum. You listen to my lies. Love is far to come. Your love is far. Running at the speed of light, kissing every city lights. Calls me in this morning, time it just goes on. Running at the speed of light, kissing every city lights. Calls me in this morning, time it just goes on. Gotta get up again. I gotta get up to another day. I'm not giving up again. I gotta get up. I gotta get up. I gotta get Gonna get up
Hello? Is this the shot stream? Cancel hangovers. Yes. Hold your applause. Just dead silence. Take a shot every time 100 says just saved you a shot. Yes, sir. He goes, ouch. What's going on today, guys? Welcome to another Trader Spotlight. This lovely rainy Saturday, we've got Simply Sim coming on the stream. Options day trader. She's been doing a lot of those live trading sessions over on. Okay, yes sir. Over on Twitter. And do some really great Q&As there as well. So if you don't follow her and want to ask questions outside of this and also get on voice, she does a lot of those Twitter spaces. Let me just pull up her Twitter account, and I'll show you where you can find her. Okay. There she is. Simply Sim. Simply_Sim1. Make sure it's the right one. There's lots of them out there. Those scammers, dude. They'll get ya. They'll get ya. She's got 18.4K followers. Let's get her to 20. Okay. Market assassin. All right. Not messing around. There's one shot. That's correct. So hit her with the follow out on Twitter, and we're going to dive into her trading style. And if you guys do have any questions throughout the stream, feel free to @ myself, and I will ask the questions as they become appropriate. Okay? So please, grab a seat, relax. Let me turn down this music a little bit, and we'll get into it. And for everyone just waking up, what's the matter with you? What's the matter with you? And good morning. All right, let's hop into it. Hello, hello. Testing 1, 2, 3. Sometimes we do have issue with like push to talk being a problem, but it's rare. Sim, can you hear me? Oh no, it's the problem. I can see her unmuting, so she's probably on push to talk. Let me give her like some insane power in the Discord. There you go. Maybe now you can switch it. And if not, what we'll do is I will just, why don't we just do that? I'm going to take away your power. And I'm going to drag you over here. Okay. Testing again. Can you hear me now? I don't even think my voice is coming up now. Hang on. Okay. This is supposed to light up, isn't it? No face cam for Sim? I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Hello, hello, hello. You should have more permissions in this one, Sim. If you can hear me. I'm not sure if she can hear me. How'd you guys do this week in the market, by the way? You guys kill it? Okay, she's just DMing me on the side here. I swear this never happens. This market has gone crazy, seriously. What's up, Mango? Thanks for the first time chat. She can't hear me. What the hell? Okay, this is what we'll do then. Don't worry, guys. I got this. Hello? Hello? How is this not working? What the hell? What did I change?
Hey, can you hear me?
Oh, I know what I did. Okay, now you can hear me.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah, that was my bad. I was on push to talk.
Oh. So it's your problem, not mine.
Yeah, no, it's my fault the whole time. Damn it. So embarrassing.
What's up, dude?
Not much. You?
Good. Amazing.
Awesome. How's your week this week?
Oh, phenomenal, dude. Phenomenal week. A lot of volatility in the market, just the way I like it. I'm a scalp trader, as you know, so got some really awesome moves. Couldn't have been better. I'm super excited for next week as well. It's gonna be well, we're kind of into mid-month right now. It's gonna be a great rest of the month. I can feel it.
Gotcha. Love to hear that. Yeah, the market's been just like up and down, like just like a roller coaster. And so a lot of people are saying like, oh, it's chop. But I think if you can figure out a system, it's actually really, really profitable.
Yeah, definitely. If you could gauge the moves in the market and you're able to take the quick profits and literally be a sniper in this market is for you, for sure.
100%. And I see you on Spaces every day, doing the live trading, taking Q&A, stuff like that, and that's super, super awesome. So if anyone watching wants to join in on that, just follow her on Twitter, and you'll see it at the top of your home feed there. So let's kind of get into things. I'd love to start kind of at the beginning for you. How did you find trading and, in the early days, what was your trading style like back then, and how'd you develop it into what it is now?
Oh man, I was the biggest gambler you ever met.
Let's
You
go.
know, so the reality of the game is for me. I actually had a background in law enforcement before I started. I
Oh,
was
cool.
injured. Yeah, I got into a car accident. So I got hit by a few cars on the freeway. It was pretty bad. So I was in that pile up, and then I ended up getting sciatica from that. So I got medically withdrawn from my law enforcement job at that time.
No way.
So when that happened, I was bedridden for a while. And then I had to go through physical therapy and all that. And while I was going through that, I'm a workaholic, man. I needed something to do.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually moved me over to Google. I was a contractor for Google for one of their teams there. Similar to, I can't tell you exactly what I did, but
Yes.
I was on this specific task force for anti-terrorism and
Wow.
anti-abuse. So it was fun, but it wasn't, I wasn't working outside like I was, in law enforcement. So I was bored, right?
Right.
COVID hit March of 2020, and I remember we got sent home. I live in California, by the way. So got sent home, and there was nothing open. Like, there was literally, here in California, especially in the Bay Area, there was nothing you could do. You couldn't go anywhere. I mean,
Right.
nothing was open, right?
Yeah.
It was major lockdown.
Man.
So and I'm naturally an outgoing person, but I couldn't do anything. And then I was sitting there, and I don't know if you guys remember, but there was that one Netflix series that came out called Tiger King.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yes. So that shit was like on everybody's like list to watch of things, right? And
Right.
I was getting sent that left and right. So I'm watching this, and it just started like the first or second episode, and I'm browsing through like Instagram, and I see this like quote, and the quote says, a couple months from now, when this whole thing is over, you're either going to be tapped out on all the shows on Netflix, or you're going to apply yourself somewhere. You're going to learn something. Like, who do
Right.
you want to be? You want to be this loser, just sitting there and Netflixed out, or you want to go and learn something? I believe in signs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that right there was my sign. And I just thought about it. I'm like, what's the one thing that I've been wanting to learn that I just always told myself that I didn't have the time to do? It was trading. I always want to learn the markets.
Mm-hmm.
So I just deep divulged. I watched every video on YouTube you could imagine. Like, I'm talking about, while I was driving, I was listening to the video. While I was
Wow.
in the shower, I had it playing. While I'm folding laundry, like whatever I was doing, I was so infatuated because I just wanted to learn.
Sure. Yeah.
And I had nowhere to turn to. I had no knowledge of what discords were. Um, I'm not a gamer, so I wasn't familiar with that. But I pretty much just I wanted to learn like a good strategy. So my strategy in the beginning was gambling. All right. I literally, I started off with equity trading, and when I was when I was trading equity, I had no idea what options were. Um, Trading equity was boring as hell. I didn't have a lot of capital. I started off with about 3K, and I just didn't know what I was doing. I was trying to jump into some weed stocks or whatever I could find that was on a hype.
Right.
And I'd usually catch the top and get smacked, right?
Yeah.
So I made a bit of money here on I had a couple of different shares of some of these vaccine stocks. So, made some money on that, and I'm like, okay, there has to be a quicker way. Like, what are the other ways to trade? Found options. Um, One of my friends in Arizona, she was a nurse at the time, and she had actually taken an options course. She was explaining to me, this support resistance and stuff like that, and I was kind of getting it. And then started watching more videos on options. Did my first options trade in June of 2020. Okay, and had no idea what ER was, had no idea what, you know, the Greeks were. I
Mhm.
just dove into it. And I took the 3K to 8K, and I thought
Wow.
I was the fucking best trader in the world, dude. I was going around telling everybody that this is the shit. Like, I'm so
Yeah.
good at this, and all that. And
Yeah.
because you're in a linear bull market at the time. Market was recovering in June, right? So
Right.
like you could have swung anything overnight and made
Yeah.
money. But I didn't know that. I was just
He's
the
like, I've
shit,
cracked
right?
the
At the
code.
time. Yeah. So long story short on that, basically, I got absolutely smacked.
Right.
My rationale for trades, my TA was, damn, Apple's like ran a lot today. Maybe I should take some puts on it. Like, that's it.
Okay.
There was no levels. There was nothing. There was no like substance in my brain, right? Of like what I was doing. So, anyways, moving on, I got smacked on that whole portfolio, and at that time, that money was a lot to me. So I was like pretty shocked. Like, I was like, damn, like I really got smacked. I got humbled by the market real quick, right?
Mhm.
So this time I'm like, all right, well, people are successful doing this. What the fuck am I doing wrong? So I'm writing down all the dumb shit I'm doing, revenge trading, FOMOing, everything that was a part of the market. Started reading books on trading psychology. Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas was like my Bible. I started reading that. Got really into the psychological aspect of trading, and then it came down to my strategy next. I wanted a strategy that I could utilize in any market: bull market, bear market, choppy market, kangaroo market. I don't care, right? Anything that I could use. So I found a strategy called supply and demand. I was actually in this Discord, and it was a Signals Discord, and one of the guys there, he used this strategy. So I just started looking it up, and the strategy is essentially, I read time and sale, so I read the actual execution of the orders that's coming in, right? I read the volume of those orders that are coming in, what they're buying it at as well, and selling as well. So the buying and selling that's happening in real time. And then I read level 2, which is the order books, right? Active orders that are coming in that have not been executed. And then I correlate that with the volume, correlate that with the futures, right? And that's it. And I take the quick moves in the market. I'm a scalp trader. So I enter in, and I'll look for the 1 to 5 to $10, whatever move I can get. Sometimes I'm only getting a $2 move, I'll take it.
Right.
Sometimes I'm getting a $1 move, even I'll take it. On SPY, maybe I get 80 cents. I'll take it. Whatever. Profit is profit.
Yeah.
So I started I started off with a 3K again. And June after blowing my account, I started off with another 3K, and then by utilizing this strategy, I was able to take it to 15K. Took it to 15K, and I really quickly wanted to get to 20K, so I started doing dumb shit again, and went back, pulled back to 11K, and then sat down with myself. I'm like, yo, what am I doing wrong here? And I'm like, I'm just being a dumbass. Okay, let's take it back to the rules that were helping me. Utilize those. Took that account to 100K. I never looked back after that. I just continued compounding gains, and that's brought me here today.
Damn, that's a crazy story. So
it's wild, dude. It's wild.
That's really crazy. I had no idea about your car accident too. Sorry to hear that. But I guess maybe it put you on this path or whatever you want to believe, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that it's a blessing in disguise, right? Like,
right.
Things happen for a reason. I was very passionate about my job because I had been doing it since a very young age. I started with like an internship and, all these things. And this was like, my whole family, all my friends knew that like, this is what her path is, like, this is what she's going to do. And things take a turn, but life knocks you down. You got to get back up, and you got to figure out what your other passions are in life. And I figured it out, and I do want to go back to law enforcement. I'm not gonna lie, just because I had a passion for it. But I like doing what I do. There's a lot of freedom in what I do, and I definitely enjoy it.
Man, that's awesome. So when you started finding like, let's put you in the space of you already found your strategy. You're starting to, you're above 20K, and the strategy's working. You're compounding and compounding. At what point did you start actually paying yourself and giving yourself a salary?
I actually initially, when I had first started, where I was just making like maybe $200-300 a day, I was taking $1,000 out of my account every Friday.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and then one thing that, again, just because I was so not educated in this, was taxes. I
Right.
didn't realize that I should have been taking out 50% of what I was making during that time, just to be safe. Here it's about 35 to 40% short-term gains, right?
Right.
But I started taking that money, and I'm kind of glad that I was paying myself during that time, because I started putting that aside and just into a savings account, and
Nice.
it worked out because I was able to pay my taxes with that. But that's kind of when I started. But as of now, instead of paying myself, what I started doing, this started last year.
Yeah.
I just started taking that capital and moving it to my long-term portfolio account, and then I would just go ahead and buy long-term shares. So as of now, I have two accounts. I have a long-term growth, just an equity account,
Yep.
and then I have my short-term, where I strictly just keep it to options only. And then I have one more that I'm building right now, which is just going to be a dividends portfolio.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So I'm just gonna change the game here. There we go. As far as intraday strategies, like it sounds like you're pretty much primarily a day trader. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, cool. Are there certain times of the day that you prefer to trade rather than others, or were you kind of like you're on Spaces all day? You'll just kind of wait for your favorite setups and kind of trade throughout the day, or timing doesn't matter for you?
I mean, as a scalp trader, like, honestly, like, it's not even really about the strategy per se, but it's mainly just about the market itself, right?
Right.
Like, when the volume dies off in the market midday, there's really nothing there to take. So you find yourself forcing trades. And I hated doing that, because I noticed that I would make a shit ton of money in the morning only to give it back by the afternoon. Because I'm just essentially just, you're trading algo sometimes, right? And
Yeah.
so what I do instead now, in the morning, I mean, right at the open, I'm ready to go. I'm gonna look and gauge market direction, and then look at what's pushing, what's strong in the market. Gonna also look at what's weak in the market. My pre-market routine is really what does that for me. So number one thing is I like to see what sectors are taking off, right, and what sectors are weak, right? One or the other. Keep it really simple. Strongest versus the weakest. That's it. And
Gotcha.
then I'll look at any type of news that's coming in, which are all catalysts, right?
Mhm.
Catalyst to the downside, Apple gets sued, whatever. Catalyst to the downside. Catalyst to the upside, oh, Apple's coming out with, this and this new phone and this new chip, or whatever it might be. Like, it could be anything. So I use those catalysts as to kind of gauge a certain type of bias, right?
Right.
And then I go ahead and also look at the analyst upgrades and downgrades, any of the PT changes, price target changes that they have. That's very important to look at as well. So that's the main three things that I'll kind of take a look at in the morning, and then I'll kind of gauge what I'm going to be looking at. So that's like the little pre-market small analysis that I would do.
Okay, cool.
Getting into the market, like as far as like when I'm mainly trading. So I'm on the West Coast. So for me, 6:30 a.m. is when the market opens. Between like 6:30 and around 8 to 8:30 is when I get the most out of the market. I believe in something I call the 30-minute and the 60-minute workday. I like to make my money in the first 30 minutes or 60 minutes.
Hell yeah.
That's what it's at. Like, I mean, again, right? Like, trading is freedom, right? It's time, right? All this time, people love money. Don't get me wrong, money's great.
Yeah.
But the best luxury in life is time, because you can't buy it. You can only
Exactly.
buy it if you buy an options contract, right? That's far out.
Yeah.
But other than that, you can't really buy your time. So I believe in that 30-minute, 60-minute workday. It gives me freedom to do whatever I want. End of day, I do come back to the market. I mean, I'm watching the market all day, just to see if there's any catalyst midday and stuff. But if I don't see anything, then primarily I'm trading about the last about hour and a half. So 11:30 to 1 when the market closes. That's when I'm usually hitting that market really hard again.
Okay. Is that power hour? I'm confused just because the time zones, most likely.
Yeah, power hour for, well, I mean, I started about a half an hour before power hour is when I
Okay.
see the market really picking up.
Gotcha.
And then yes, power hour, I'm always there just to see if we get any end of day moves.
Okay. No, cool. So we get this question a lot on some of these streams, and it's not something that I particularly watch. So I'd like to hear your take on it, as far as you know what they call reading the tape in like level 2. I don't know if you ever got your charting and stuff to work, but maybe you could pull it up if you did. If not, that's fine, and we just talk through it. But if you want to kind of walk through like what your strategies are reading the tape, and time and sales and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I apologize. Thinkorswim, they have maintenance over the weekend, and it just keeps closing me out.
Yeah, no
But
problem.
I can kind of go over it with you so you can picture it.
Yeah,
So
sure.
time and sales is like essentially a numbers matrix, right?
Gotcha.
So you're looking at a time. That's the time that the order was executed. You're looking at a price point of what it was executed, which price that particular ticker, whether it's a buy or sell that was coming in. So you see what the price is. So you can see if somebody's buying at the ask, above the ask, even selling at the bid, or buying at the mid. You could see all of that, and then you can also see the amount of volume. So you could see if it's 100 shares, 1,000 shares, 2,000, 5,000, whatever the case may be. So that's what you're looking at, right? For level 2, you're looking at any type of potential sell walls or potential bounce levels. Those are orders that are coming in. They haven't been executed yet, but that order will typically be at a price where that stock is not currently trading at. So let's just say Tesla is trading at 800. This is hypothetical. So Tesla's trading at 800, and let's just say Tesla is dipping. And then I see a bunch of buyers that are sitting at that 793 level. Okay, a bunch of stacked buyers are coming in on the order book, and I can see that they're sitting there. Maybe there's 20,000 shares that are being bought at that level. I would specify that as a demand level at that time.
Mm.
So, and then let's say the opposite. Let's say that Tesla is trading at that 800 and it's going up, volume, everything looks good. And then at 805, you see a bunch of stacked sellers that are sitting there. So they're offloading their position at 805, right? And so you could clearly see that on level 2 as well. But there's something on level 2 that a lot of people will talk about, which is called spoof orders. So they'll see this large order come in, it'll flash, and then it'll disappear. And then you also see something called a reload seller that comes in. So what a reload seller is let's just say, again, Tesla's trading at 800, and at 805 you see a seller that's sitting there. Maybe they're going to offload 20,000 shares. So stock goes to 805, and then you see that number start to decrease on that share amount. So the 20,000 shares, now it's 15,000 shares instead, because they're filling them over and over and over, right? That seller at that time would disappear because the stock price would go down, and then come back in with that 15,000 shares. And then again, stock would hit that, and then they would offload some shares, and then stock price goes down, they'd come back again. So that's what typically happens during that time.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking at, like every single time, every single trade that I'm in. Because just remember that, I mean, if you're trading, anytime that you're trading, like in any other type of way, maybe like you're using indicators or something like that, your indicators are telling you, things about being oversold, overbought, all these levels, right? But reading the tape is very specific to each situation that's happening, because you're going beyond how the stock is trading, but you're seeing how it's trading at a given price during that particular day.
Right. Okay. And so when you're looking at that tape and you see like some volume come up, how do you differentiate between what is a stronger area versus what is a weaker area, or maybe a fake out, something like that, for different tickers as well, right? Is it different, or is it usually kind of the same?
It's different if I'm trading SPY.
Okay.
SPY, reading the tape on SPY is just it's lightning fast, right?
Right.
But as opposed to it being like other tickers, I mean, you have some that are slower moving tickers. Um, let's just say like Apple versus Amazon. I mean, they're both very liquid, but at the same time, like the movements, the amount of shares bought are going to be completely different from Apple versus Amazon. Amazon is more expensive, anyways, right?
Right.
So you're going to see maybe particularly like during the day, you may see some smaller shares that are being bought up, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't move the price. 2,000 shares of Amazon are going to be different from 2,000 shares of Apple. So you could see that on the tape, though. So the movements of, I mean, what I'm looking at in particular, I guess, so to answer your question the best way is, yes, it does depend on the stock that you're looking at. Every stock does trade differently. The volume is different on every single ticker as well. But for myself, because I mainly trade large caps and I do trade mid caps as well, it's usually about the same. I don't really differentiate. I learned by trading Apple. All I would trade was Apple because I wanted to
cool.
learn one ticker. Yeah, and then just like apply that to other tickers. So that's kind of what I did. And I was, not financial advice, but I always recommend if you're going to start out, you focus on one ticker and then apply the teachings and the learnings of all that to the rest of the market.
Gotcha. No, it's funny. When I first started trading, the only thing I would trade was Lululemon.
No way. Is it because you liked it?
Well,
you liked your
yeah,
yoga
yeah.
pants?
They make sick pants, No, no. This is back when like they're talking about having a Lululemon gym or something. And I was like, oh, that's dope. I was like, okay, let me just like swing this for a while. And then I was just buying and selling Lululemon back and forth over like a month or two. It actually did really well. But no, I just think that's funny.
That's wild. Were you trading options or equities?
No, just straight equity. I was just buying shares. Yeah, I didn't trade options
Damn.
back then.
So are you a Lululemon ape or what?
Yeah, to the moon, baby. Let's go.
That's tight. That's awesome.
We got a question in chat from Deb. Was there a resource you used to learn reading level 2, or was it just screen time?
Dude, screen time. I looked for every video I could find to learn this shit, right? And I couldn't find any that worked for me. I don't know which ones are on now that maybe you might be able to. Simple YouTube search or something like that.
Yeah.
But at that time, I remember sitting there. I would just make a cup of coffee, and all I would do is watch time and sales, watch level 2, watch the volume, and watch the chart. And I wouldn't even trade. I would just sit there and do that all day. I did that for almost 2 months, and I almost lost my damn mind. Like, it is really tough.
Yeah. No,
I can't tell you how many times I wanted to give up because I'm like, fuck, this is too difficult.
Right.
But looking back on that experience, like, it taught me a lot of patience. You have to be patient with yourself in this market. You have to be patient with yourself when you're learning. It's very easy to give up, right? But one thing that by doing so, and like by sitting there and being able to like evaluate this numbers matrix and all of that, I would go in with just one contract to practice at that time. And I think that's something that definitely helped me was just, going in with the smallest size and just kind of testing. And dude, I mean, I'd be punching the air when it wouldn't work, but when it would work, and majority of the time it would, and the strategy was working for me, I was like, holy shit, I'm getting this. Like, I literally saw what was happening. I wasn't nervous at all because I felt so in control. I could see everything that's happening.
Right.
Although it's not my, particular buy orders that are coming in on that tape, I could read them and analyze them and understand it. So, but it was all screen time, and again, it took me about, I think, close to about 4 months for me to be like really comfortable doing it.
Gotcha. Okay, that's cool. Hope that answers your question, Deb. Thanks for the question. So do you read any options flow at all, or does that not play into your strategy?
It doesn't play into my strategy, but
Okay.
I do read it. I do like to read it. I think, I like to swing trade in the market, although this is not the market. The climate's not there for me to swing trade right now.
Right.
but I used to look at like a lot of flow data and stuff that was coming in, dark pools and all that, but I found that because of the way that I trade, it's not something that benefits me in any way, to be
Gotcha.
honest. Yeah, so but I do like to look at it for sure throughout the day.
Okay, yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Like when I first discovered options flow, I was like, this is gonna change my life. And then I started using it, right? And I was like, all right, like it's pretty good. It wasn't adding that much to my strategy, but it's like the same thing you said. Like it's just good to kind of like note and sort of maybe give you some confluence, but it can't just like for me anyway. It wasn't for me to be solely my strategy. So I think that's
I
it.
think one of the tickers I remember that like I was like testing flow one time, and one of the tickers that I used it on was SOS, and
Oh
this was
no.
last year.
Okay.
Dude, this was SOS last year, and I think it was like June or some shit like that, and I took it was the 12.5 calls, and there was heavy flow. I'm talking about open interest was like 112,000. Um, it was wild. Like I'm
Right.
looking at this flow that's coming in, and I'm like, damn, they're hitting this like 12.5. Okay, screw it. Like, it's hella cheap. I think it was like 70 cents or something. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna take it. It's a leap. It's January. I'm just gonna leave it in my portfolio, and it's all good. I think I put like 5,000 in there and just kind of left it. Yeah, look at where
Oh
SOS is
no.
at today.
Oh no.
So after that, dude, I mean, like that, naturally, I think I stopped out at like, at one point it was like 80%. I'm like, well, it's not coming back.
Well,
Just left
fuck.
it at that. Yeah, and like, the thing is like, think about, I mean, shit, I didn't have barely anything in there. 5K,
Okay,
I really didn't
okay.
care. But
Right.
other people that were coming in, there was golden sweeps that were coming in, which is over 1 million, right? I mean, naturally their positions went to shit. Like,
Yeah.
so that's why, flow like that's coming in, and they're hitting, certain strikes like super hard and stuff like that. It works sometimes, but other times, in that event in particular, that didn't work out.
Right. No, yeah, I hear you. And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And you got to find a way to kind of put that into your strategy, I think. We are getting some questions in chat. I want to touch on those in a second, but I think one that is kind of a good one is, in a sea of different indicators and services and paid rooms and free rooms, how does a new trader step into the market like today and start to develop a strategy? Because it can be very overwhelming, just because there's not enough, obviously, but because there's too much to kind of sort through to figure out. Like there's a million EMAs, there's all these different services and stuff like that. How can a new trader start to develop their style?
I think the number one thing that a new trader should do is figure out their time commitment to the market first. The
Right.
time commitment is really what counts, right?
Yep.
Because as a scalp trader, I have to be in front of my screen.
Yes.
I'm taking the quick entries, quick exits. Whereas other people may not have the ability to have that potential screen time, right? So figure out your time commitment to the market, and then based on that, figure out, if you like, you could be a day trader, and that doesn't take as much time commitment. You could set certain stops throughout the day, technical stops or whatever you want to do. Or you could be a swing trader if you want to go more long term, because you can't be watching the market every single day.
Right.
And that's something that so everybody has to ask themselves first. So I would ask myself that first, and then figure out what your strategy is based on that. And then when you do figure out that strategy of what that is, deep divulge, learn everything about that strategy. Like,
Mhm.
don't let anything go untouched. That's what I did with my strategy. I learned everything. Even till this day, I'll tell you, I'll still try to learn more shit about it.
For
Like,
sure. Yeah.
the learning of this doesn't stop. Like, I think of, learning options and like figuring out your strategy and all that as essentially learning a new language. You
Right.
don't learn that shit overnight. You don't learn in a couple weeks. Like,
Mhm.
to be fluent at that, it takes you a lot of time, and it takes a lot of repetition and practice. And yes, in the beginning you learn the basics, but then you learn other words. The same way in the beginning of options you learn the basics, then you learn the more advanced stuff, right?
Right.
So that's one of the ways that I would do that first, though. Just like I said, the time commitment is number one. Figure that out, what that is for you as an individual every single day. And then whatever that new strategy is, deep divulge. Yes, look at the EMAs for the smaller time frames, SMAs for the longer time frames. Figure out what you also like trading. Some people just like trading futures. That's cool, right?
Yeah, for
Some
sure.
people like to, some people don't have the capital to trade the large caps. That's okay too. Some people just focus on sectors, and they look at sector rotation. That's cool too. There's no bad way of trading. Like, people will look at my strategy and they'll trade a different strategy. Hey, if you're making money in the market, I don't give a shit. It's us. It's never us against each other. It's us against the market, right?
Exactly.
So you stick to that, whatever that strategy is, though. Also, that you find, you stick to it. Don't divert.
Yes.
Don't ever change your plan. People will come to me with strategies right now. Like, a lot of people talk about, well, Sim, why don't you sell premium or do this or whatever, and I'm just like, no. And they're like, well, why not? This is a better way of trading, or I have this algorithm, all this bullshit, right? And I'm just like,
Right.
well, when you're good at something, why change it?
Just stick to it. Yeah. And I think that's
Exactly.
a big problem that a lot of newer traders have is they keep hearing about all these different strategies and they don't even really fully try the one that they just learned. You know what I mean?
You know what it is? It's because I think it's also because of Twitter. A lot of
for
a lot
sure.
of this is because of Twitter.
Yeah, for sure it is.
Twitter is the most educational, most lightweight, toxic place you could be at, right? Because everyone wants the 100%, 500,000% gainers. They love these
Yeah.
percentages. It's the best shit in the world,
I
right?
know.
And it creates a lot of fucking bag holders, dude.
Oh, for sure.
It just does. And the one thing that I say to kind of go back to your question, though, is I always use this analogy, because this analogy, I feel like, for me, has helped me a lot. So, when let's just say I own a casino, man, and you come into my casino, you come to the blackjack table, and you take my casino that night for $5 million.
Right.
Okay? I got smoked that night, right? And what am I going to do as a casino owner? I'm going to hook you up with a penthouse, whatever you want that entire night. I mean, even fucking bring some hookers to your room. I don't know. Whatever I have
Let's
to
go.
do to keep you there, bro, I'm going to do it.
Right.
Because I know that you're going to want to come back and play, because you're the player. That's what you're going to want to do, right?
Right.
And I'm going to hope that you're going to come back and you're going to give all that money back to me and then some.
Right.
But what am I not going to do as a casino owner? I'm not going to change the rules of blackjack. Why doesn't the casino change the rules? Because the house always wins, right? Because they're consistent.
Right.
But who changes the rules? The player does. You might get a little liquored up. You might show up at the table, and you might start betting a lot bigger, or you might change up your strategy a little bit, because now you're on your high horse. You're euphoric as hell. You took my shit for $5 million. You're the shit, and you're gonna come and you're gonna do it all over again.
Yeah.
And that's the time that you get smacked, and the casino wins, because again, the house always wins because they don't change their rules.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
If
a great
you think
analogy.
of trading, if you think of trading like that, that's where the consistency comes in. You don't ever change your rules. Even if you take a beating, right? You still don't change your rules, because again, that gives you the advantage in the market. You
Right.
stick to what you know and you don't divert from the plan.
Become the house.
Hell yeah. Be the house every single day. Like, I always say that. Be the house every single day. Like, if you treat this shit like a sport, that's another great way to see it. Like, I'm very competitive against myself every single day. I care green over greed, right? I just want to be green on the day. I want that consistency throughout my entire journey of doing this. I want to be green every single day. Wake up with more money than you had yesterday. That's all I care about.
100%. I do kind of have a two-part question. So Deb in chat, and I will get to the other questions as well. But she's asking, do you feel like people are better learning equities first, or is it possible to jump straight into options? And the second part to that is, do you have a daily goal that you try to hit, percentage or money-wise, or is you're just trying to, whenever you're satisfied with your green or red, you're just done?
So first part of your question, I do personally, I learned equities first, and I'm glad I did. You gotta look at market mechanics. You gotta look at a chart. You gotta see the way something's moving.
The price action, right?
Yeah, price action is I mean, especially if you're going to be trading options later on, which has to do mainly with price action. Well, depending on how you trade, but like what I was looking at when it came to trading equity was I wasn't as anxious. There's no expiration, right? Because when the time is ticking, the pressure's on. But that's something that helped me was trading the equities first. So I definitely recommend starting off with that, looking at a chart, look at the movements in the market, understand divergence, understand market rotation, all of these other things where you're not risking this money with an expiration date. You're in the market, you're a part of it. You can you learn fundamentals. You learn the TA based on the chart, right? Like all of these things that you want to do in the beginning. Sometimes you have to have that skin in the game to really care about it. So I do recommend definitely starting off with equities.
Okay, cool. Yeah, awesome. And as far as having a target, do you have one?
So this is something that is really important for me because when I first started out, my target was, I think it was $200 a day. This is when I first started.
Sure.
And then I increased it to 500. But I noticed that for somebody like me, it just doesn't work. And the reason why is because I would get to like $470 on the day, but it wasn't above that 500, and that was my goal. Who doesn't want to freaking hit their goal every day? You know the Apple Watch with the little rings on it? You want to complete the goddamn rings every day, right? You do. You want to get those steps in or whatever, and you'll look at your watch, you'll be like, damn man, I need like 2,000 more steps, and you'll just start fucking walking around, right? Because you want to hit that goal. The same way for me, that's how I see the market. I wanted to so badly get above that 500 that I would just jump into some dumb shit, some play that just like I would look at it, I'd be like, oh, this looks like a bull flag. No, it was a bullshit flag. But I thought it looked like a bull flag because I just wanted to jump in the market and I
Sure.
wanted to get over that goal. And that is something for me that I just hate doing because if I don't reach that goal, I don't feel satisfied. And so for now, as of now, I don't have any goal except green. As long as I'm green on the day, that keeps me from over trading. That
Yep.
keeps me from FOMOing. That keeps me from not being aligned when I trade and or revenge trading. It keeps me very consistent.
So, do you have any rules if you start off the day and your first 2 to 3 trades are red?
Yeah, I do.
Keep going,
When my
baby.
my first, yeah, exactly, get the fuck up,
Yeah.
straight up, like wake up. Well, my main thing is this, like I think when you're sitting at the computer, there's two emotions, right? One is if it's red. When you're red, you're like, God damn it, why'd I get into this? Like all these thoughts, like every adjective that you can imagine. I'm such a loser. What the fuck? Like screw this market. You were punching the air. Like this sucks. Like whatever, right? That's one emotion. The second is like if you're up big on the day, euphoria, right? You're on top of the world. Fucking, you're Nancy Pelosi's son or daughter. You know this shit better than anybody. You're the greatest, right? You're a god at this, right? Like literally, like you have all
Yeah.
these thoughts in your mind.
Right.
So that's two emotions, right? Both of the emotions. You have one that's good because you're up on the day. You have one that's bad because you're down on the day. Both of them, walk away. Walk
Right.
away from your computer. No matter what, you have to realign yourself when you come back in. So if I take a loss in the morning, if I take two, not even one, my first loss I don't give a shit about because I know I'll make it back.
Right.
My second one, if I'm like if I feel that frustration, laptop's gone, whatever, I'm walking.
Yep.
I'm talking about I'm walking to the kitchen even. Just get away from that setting.
No, that's good.
Get
yeah.
away from it, right? Reset your brain. Tell yourself you can fucking do it. If you wake up in the morning and you tell yourself that you suck, you set yourself up for failure every morning. You spoke it into existence.
Right.
And when you do that, when you say stuff like that, right? You throw that out into the universe, you already lost. Why are you even trading at that?
Mhm.
You want to come in the market every day. Your job as a trader to make money. So yes, that red that you see in the morning, walk the hell away. Like you will be amazed by you just walking into another room in your house, what it does for you, what it does for your mindset. You reset, you sit down, you realign, and then you attack the market again. But you don't give up. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
throughout the day, I'll never give up. But you also know though what your risk is, right? Like my risk profile is different from maybe yours, other people's, or whatever.
Sure.
If you hit that potential, if you hit that percentage or that money value of that being, the most that you're comfortable giving up on a day, then it's okay to stop too.
Gotcha. No, it's very well answered. So Mango in chat has a question about entries. I'm going to kind of add to it a little bit. Being a day trader and especially using the supply and demand strategy, I use a similar strategy. How do you control your risk management? I think a lot of traders, they'll buy kind of in the middle of supply and demand. So you could kind of walk through what risk management means to you and how you're taking those entries.
So
in
let's start off with
particular,
how I'm taking.
sorry, in particular, you asked about the SPY.
So how am I taking entries? So I'm looking at, again, where the buyer's sitting, where the sellers are sitting, right? So
Right.
I'm only trading bounce levels and rejections. That's it.
Gotcha.
I'm not trading the breakouts. I'm not trading the breakdowns. I stopped doing that completely.
Me too.
I found that buying. You did that too?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I don't trade breakouts
Yo.
anymore.
I love finding somebody that trades the same and understands this.
Yeah.
Buying into weakness, dude, and buy the dip, sell the rip, like every single day.
That's it.
That's what I love to do. Dude, best premium price you're ever gonna get. The
I
IV's
know.
not spiked up. It's the best shit, dude.
It's crazy
Like,
because I used to be the opposite, and it was like, I was like, man, what am I doing? And then I just switched that in my brain, and it was like,
Yeah.
bro, this is like the win rate is so much higher.
absolutely, it is.
Yeah.
And you know what? Your risk when it comes down to it, and same thing with rejections, right? Oh, I'll wait for it to pop up, and I'm like, all right, cool, I'm shorting it right here, or taking puts, take my puts right there,
Right.
and make money on the way down real quick. So what am I looking at during that time, right? I'm looking at heavy buying or heavy selling. You tip the scale. What's gonna tip the scale? Are the buyers tipping it or the sellers? That's number one that you're looking at. But when you're looking at SPY is very difficult to read the tape. When I'm looking at SPY, laser focused on Apple. Cheat code.
Gotcha.
Everybody should know this. Look at Apple. Apple is a market mover. I treat that shit like an ETF at this point.
Literally, yeah.
I'm looking at Apple, right? Like heavily, right? And then I'll be looking at SPY. I want to see what that's doing. So, but again, you want to look at that tape, right? You want to look at where the big orders coming in. Look at level 2 if there's any sell walls in your way or whatever. But you got to be lightning fast. I missed the second part of this question.
Yeah, we're just talking about risk management on entries, and
Yes.
yeah, he wants to know about how you trade SPY.
Let's-
That's all.
Let's go with risk management, okay?
Yeah,
Risk management. Depending on your expiration, I trade the weekly contracts.
Okay.
For SPY and SPX, though, I trade same day expiration on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Okay? On Fridays, because of the platform that I use, I'm on Fidelity Active Trader Pro. I cannot trade any other ticker as the same day expiration. For some reason, they have this thing where you have to call them up. That is the fucking last thing I'm gonna do is be on the phone with somebody and expect them to click a button for me. Screw that shit.
For
It's
zero
not happening.
DTE too? What?
Yeah, man. I don't know why, but I love Fidelity so much that I refuse to move over to anything else.
Okay.
So anyways, cause their fills are immaculate. We'll
Yeah,
get into
sure.
that later. But
Yeah.
risk management wise, my risk to the downside is typically 15 to 20%. When it's negative 15 to 20% and I'm scalp trading, that really tells me that shit's just not going my way anymore.
Right.
But I kind of took that away recently, and I changed it up a little bit. I'm now looking at just straight technical levels. So let's just say SPY is trading at 445, okay, and I take it for calls. So it goes up to 445.5, and then I see a dip down. I see a demand level at 445 flat. So it goes back down to maybe like 445.10. I'll jump into a position for a bounce. Let's say maybe underneath that it dips to 444.4.
Sure.
Okay, and I see that as like a potential technical level for a bounce. If it doesn't bounce from there, I'm out of the trade.
Gotcha.
But typically my levels they're so close to that 15 to 20% range anyways. So I'm really never losing more than that. I mean, the most I think I'll ever take on a scalp trade loss has been like 25%, only because it's like Amazon spreads are super wide. That's it.
Right. Okay, cool. There's one quick question from FOMO Mofos. Nice name.
Right.
Which trading platform do you read the level 2 data on?
Level 2 data, I always read on Thinkorswim platform.
Gotcha.
There is this other platform called TradeStation. If you go on my link tree, I actually have a partnership with them because
Cool.
they're such a good platform and I like them. But they give reduced commissions. It's free. Like you don't have to do anything for it. It's a free link. You get 40-cent commissions, and then their minimum deposit used to be 2,000. With that link, it's only 500. The cool part
nice.
about that platform is you could literally highlight the tape on their platform. You could highlight if they're buying above the ask, highlight if they're buying at the ask, at the bid, whatever that price point is at the mid. You can highlight all of that. On Thinkorswim, you can't. You can only filter orders. So you can only filter, like, maybe you only want to see the orders above 100 or
Right.
only above 1,000. That's the only thing that you could do. If I had known about TradeStation and that you could do that on that platform, I would have learned this shit so much faster because Thinkorswim just doesn't do it. But Thinkorswim also taught me that I was like super. It's very intricate, basically, is what I'm trying to tell you. And being so intricate, and being the fact that you can't do that and change up like or categorize certain things on the tape, it makes it a lot difficult. So TradeStation for sure for reading the tape is phenomenal.
Okay, cool. Thank you for answering that. And we have a question from King Elf. How do you apply the Greeks to your trades?
So the cool part about scalp trading for me, I don't really have to worry about them much at all. I mean, you want to be able to get, whatever I'm typically trading in the market generally will have good delta as it is. That's why I have that watch list that's full of these particular beta names, right? So when it comes down to the delta, which is just the price increase of your contract based on the underlying move, I don't really worry about that too much. Data, everybody's worried about that. I'm also worried about that too, but only particularly when I'm trading same day expirations.
Okay.
But other than that, I don't really have to worry about it. On Thursdays, it does get, theta will start hitting you a little bit more because I'm trading the weekly expiration contracts. Same with Wednesdays. If I'm in a trade for a long time on a Wednesday and the trade's just going sideways, theta is going to start affecting me, right? That burn starts setting in. So I do look at that. IV is something more unrelated, but I do look at it. I don't like to trade anything over 120% IV. If it's over 120% IV, I'm not going to buy into that inflated contract. I kind of wait for that IV to die down.
Gotcha. Okay, I think that's a fairly straightforward answer. Love to see it. Yeah, let's go. We covered kind of the morning routine earlier in the video, and this will be recorded, so you can go back and watch this. Young Manny is asking if you're gonna make a review video of a new Porsche. I don't know what that means.
Oh, yeah, man. You want to hear the story of this shit? Oh.
Sure.
All right. So this is the wildest shit that has ever probably happened to me in my life.
What?
And I
Okay.
ordered. So last year in September, I ordered a Porsche. I ordered a Porsche Taycan.
Sick.
It's a Turbo S, right? And
Yeah.
I've never ordered a car. I've never ordered like a customized car before.
Okay.
So they had me sit down, and I was there for like 4 hours going over like 200 different options, all the way down to the stitching of the seat,
No
the color
way.
of the stitching.
That's dope.
Yeah, so it was phenomenal, right? I wanted this car, I liked the car, everything like that. So I got this allocation through them. I paid for it, whatever, and they told me that it would take me 6 months to get the car. So last month, I see this thing on the news, and a bunch of people in my Discord were talking about it, and they're like, hey, there's a cargo ship that was like had like 4,300 cars on it. They had like 1,900 Porsches, some Bentleys, some Lambos, all that shit. It's on fire
Yeah.
in the middle of the Atlantic. And I'm like just laughing about
way.
it, and I'm like, all right, like whatever. And I didn't think anything, dude. I get a call from the dealership, and they were like, hey, so yeah, your car, we don't know if it's on there, but we're pretty sure that it's currently in the middle of the Atlantic. And I'm like, what?
Oh my god.
Yeah, dude, I was shook. I'm like, that shit would really happen to me, like the first time I ordered this like
Wow.
a vehicle. So anyways, I
Just
found out that yes, it was in fact in the middle of the ocean on fire. And then they told me I would have to wait 8 months to get a new one built, right? And especially because of like Ukraine and
yeah,
Russia,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, stuff that's going on, the supply chain issues, like everything is working against me right now, right?
Right.
The dealership was really cool though. I don't know how this worked out. So I went to BMW and I was gonna go buy an M8, but it was already somebody already had like picked this car and they had to deposit down. I couldn't buy it, so I'm like, all right, screw it. I'm gonna go look for something else. I get a
Okay.
phone call the next morning from the dealership and they're like, hey, we found like pretty much the exact same car that you want. It just has some additional stuff that you probably don't need on it. You probably don't want. You're gonna have to pay more, but it's on the East Coast. If you want it, we'll bring it. Because the person that wanted to who had built that car, they lost their job, so they weren't able
Oh,
to pay for the car anymore.
sure.
And I was like, hell yeah! So I'm actually picking it up after this interview today.
Oh, no way. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
dope.
I'm hella excited, dude. I never had
Congrats.
an EV before, dude. So it's a EV car.
Wow, that's super cool. Yeah, my next car will probably be EV as well. That's
Well, none
really
of this
interesting
$7
story.
gas shit, dude.
Yeah, you know,
Are-
like man.
yeah, we're taking a beating out here right now. I'm in California, and
Okay.
the most expensive I've seen right now is like 740 for gas. It's ridiculous.
Wow, that's crazy. I think that's
Yeah, it's
fairly
wild.
comparable to here. I'm in Canada. We're like $1.80 a liter, but the conversion's super weird because it's like Canadian dollars and liters.
Yeah, yeah. What does that equate to
uh,
in gallons?
you put me on the spot. I think I think it's roughly 7. I forget. I forget exactly how
Okay.
to. I'd have to do a bunch of Googles to figure that out. Hang on, let me see. Uh,
Yeah, I'm just curious to know because which part of Canada are you from, by the way?
uh, Ontario, Toronto.
Oh, okay. Are you a Maple Leafs fan?
Yes, we love to lose.
Hey, you guys had your glory days though, dude, but yeah, it's not there anymore for you. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. It's brutal. I'm just googling the to see what it equates to. Let me see.
Yeah, because then I mean also the conversion of Canadian dollars, so that
Yeah, I'm seeing if there's a quick one. Maybe someone in chat can beat me to it, but it's roughly around 7 price per liter. So let's say it's
price of I mean anything in Toronto. I mean I have some family up in Vancouver and some in it's called Williams Lake. Have you heard of that?
no, I haven't. I haven't been
Yes,
out
I
there
have
though.
some. Yeah, I got like some family from out there and stuff, but it's they were telling me, well, we were talking more about the COVID restrictions and stuff, and recently they talked about price increases of fuel and all that stuff. But I did hear it's pretty comparable.
Okay. Yeah, so what I'm seeing
Yeah.
is someone in chat said roughly 714. I just used this calculator thing, but it seems like it's less than that. It seems like it's 541. So you're paying a ton.
Sheesh.
You're paying a ton.
Hey, that's still a lot, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
I think normally our normal prices here would be like around the $4 range, and if we're almost double that, I mean, shit's gone bad.
Yeah. Oh man,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
got
it's been wild.
another question in chat here. Let me just read it first. So
Yo, also real quick, shout out to all the people in the chat, man. I was reading it earlier before they're hilarious. I was laughing.
It's so
like, at
funny.
some of the stuff.
I know.
Dude, they're phenomenal. You got a cool ass audience.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, we have a lot of fun out here. I miss doing the live day trading though. I used to do that Monday to Friday. Man, it was such a blast. We'd have like 120 people in here, just like this is back when small caps were hot. So we'd be like just ripping small caps. It was a good time.
It was good fun.
So I got a question from Shiki-sama, I think is the name. If the options contracts are wide, the bid and the ask, what makes you take the trade anyway, or how do you manage that, or we just move on?
So when I'm scalping and the options contracts are wide, I mean, I'm looking for options contracts that first off aren't, right?
Right.
With Amazon in particular, like especially on a Monday, you're gonna get like $1.50 spread sometimes. But what am I looking at? I'm looking at good volume in the contract and then good spreads, right? So, um, for Amazon, I could even take like $50 or $100 out and be good. I've noticed with certain stocks, like let's just say even with like Tesla, if you buy maybe the 820 contract, you're gonna get a spread of maybe like 60 cents or something like that. And then the volume is gonna be a lot lower than maybe buying the 850 calls. It's a psychological number, right? 800, 850, 900. Maybe that's gonna have more volume, and then that spread is only gonna be 30 cents. So I'll look at that first. Like I'll try to figure out where am I gonna get the most value out of, right? Which contract, which one has the tightest spread. For Amazon in particular, like I said, it's very typical on Monday to have that like $1.50. As it gets closer to end of the week, I notice that those values do change. One of the stocks that has a pretty wide spread at times is Shopify. If it's too wide, and also if that volume just isn't there, I'm just simply not taking the trade. I'm not gonna try to fill at the mid and do all
Yep.
that shit. No,
Right.
I buy the ask and I sell the bid. And the cool part, the platform that I use, Fidelity, is really really phenomenal with price improvement. So
Okay.
I usually will always fill at the mid anyways. But if I see like a $3 spread or something like that, I am hella staying away from that.
Yeah, that's sketchy.
Completely. You don't want to touch that shit. That'll burn you. You get filled at the ask, you're automatically down like $300 per contract. No, fuck all that. I'm walking away.
Yeah, no, I've definitely been there too. That's how I blew up one of my accounts. I was just like revenge trading Tesla, and this is like the first time I ever traded options, and I made a ton of money on Tesla contracts. Like I think these are both Fridays, so it's like a week apart. So one Friday I was trading 0 DTEs, and I made like, I think I tripled my account or something, and then the next Friday I blew everything up. It was my biggest loss like almost ever, and yeah, I think it was just because it was off the open, and the bid and the ask were
Yeah.
just crazy.
Yeah, they're why. I mean, especially like right at the open. I'm not gonna jump into anything right at the open, right? IV,
Right.
especially like after ER, the IV is super inflated and all that.
Right.
Like you need that IV to reset. You need to just wait. I typically don't do that. I mean, I'll jump into like maybe Tesla, maybe a couple minutes in, but
Yeah.
though if those spreads are too wide, hell no, there's no point. Like you
Right.
might at that time that you're just focused on that spread and you're waiting for it to like tighten up. There's 50 other tickers going off. Go focus on something else and then revisit it, right? There's always time for a re-entry. You miss your first entry, fuck it. You're gonna find another one.
For sure. And so as far as like a scanner, like and finding your stocks, are you sort of like intraday news based, or do you have like a small list you go to? How are you finding the tickers, or you're playing it on pre-market? How are you finding your trades?
I built a watch list.
Gotcha.
My watch list has like 150 different tickers in it,
Okay.
and I like to trade a lot of tech though. So I'll trade like the Amazon. I like to trade Apple, Microsoft, all that stuff. I do like to trade those. But I think like the easiest way to do this is like if you look at like a heat map, right? And
Right.
you see those big names on the heat map, put all those into a watch list and separate them by sectors.
Yeah.
And then kind of like and then like later on you can look into something else, but that heat map is like your best friend because you can see like, okay, this is the tech sector, these are the biggest names in tech, or this is the percentage of that, what they're at or whatever on that particular day. You're able to see it all. So
Right.
that's what I would recommend doing, to build a watch list. And then every single day in the morning, pre-market, look at what's happening right in the world, right? Look at the potential news. You get vaccine news that comes out, look at that sector. You see, I personally don't like to trade pharmaceuticals, but let's just say that there's a catalyst for a pharmaceutical company and you want to take that for a scalp. Look at it pre-market, gauge your levels, and then jump into that trade. But again, like, you have to build that first. So build a watch list and don't discriminate versus like, oh, I don't like to trade tech. No, fuck that, because maybe that one day only tech is going to work out in your favor. Don't discriminate, just keep it very diverse. Pick that and then just separate them by sectors, and it works for me. That's probably the best way to do it.
Gotcha. That's so crazy you said that, because I haven't really heard anyone else say that, and that's something that I do, specifically with the QQQ and the SPY. I made basically the top holdings, and I do 9 just because on Webull I can do 9 screens at the same time. And
Dude, why the hell don't we trade together, dude? You
I
sound
know.
Like I'm basically talking to myself right
yeah,
now.
it is pretty weird. I'm like, what the hell? No, it's so funny. Yeah, so I do basically the same thing. I got all my watch lists here. Got my QQQ pulled up. Apple, Microsoft test. You know, everything's listed. And then I can just what I also check too is like, you know, maybe a couple are red, and you can see what's pulling the Qs and the SPY as well, which I find interesting. And you know, just watching those change intraday, I find actually really helpful. So I just thought that was
totally,
funny.
you know.
Yeah, that you said
And
that.
you know the cool part is like you can also see what's holding up the market. The other, you know, after the Amazon split news came up,
Right.
market should have died off heavily because all the news that we had coming up with Ukraine and Russia, you know, having a bunch of disagreements about a ceasefire, and then you know we had the China news and all the stuff that was coming out. Market should have been dumping a lot harder, but Amazon was holding up the market that day. Amazon was one of the only green stocks that day that I
Right.
saw, you know, and but again, but if Amazon, you know, that particular news didn't come out, we would have saw a lot more downside. So you want to see like what's inverse the SPY and the Qs that particular day. So it's wild to see, but
What's heavy?
Tesla is a prime. Yeah, Tesla's like the most prime example, dude. Like I've noticed that SPY will be dumping and Tesla's flying off of some freaking news that came out earlier in the day.
Right.
You got to pay attention to those. Pay attention to what's strong in the market and what looks weak in the market.
Yeah, or like sometimes you find some interesting stuff too. Like I remember before, I don't know what date it was or anything, but like SPY will be like holding, but all of the holdings on SPY will be red except for like one. And then you look
Yeah.
and it's like, what the fuck? Is Facebook really holding up the entire SPY right now? Like it's trippy. So
Yeah, man, it is definitely wild, but you're right. I mean, you know, again, just like what you said, you looking back on it and seeing that like there could be one ticker and it's like holding the indices up, you're kind of like, well, what the fuck? Like, what's going on?
right.
Rest of the market is red and this shit's green.
Yeah, yeah. And then it's like, okay, maybe this is overextended. You know, we can have confluence for puts here if SPY is entering a supply zone or whatever, right? So that's
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, that's a really cool tool, and it kind of blew my mind that you mentioned that. I was like, dude, I do that. That's so funny.
We gotta trade together, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we should definitely do that.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm still working. I still work full time, so I do what I can. Or else I'd be more involved. Like I see your trading spaces all the time, but I'm kind of just like I trade off my phone from work, man. So it's just it can be brutal. But
oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah, we'll have to do something for sure. This is pretty cool. All right, I think we'll. Any more questions in chat? Actually, let me see. How do you see the IV of a stock? Are you referring to the IV on the contracts? The IV of the contracts is what we're referring to.
Yes, IV of the contracts always.
What do the red, green, and white numbers mean on the time and sales?
Red is typically you're gonna see more selling, but it's kind of it's a little more complicated than that. But let's just keep it very simple, so I don't confuse you. Red is typically the sellers that are coming. This is on Thinkorswim, by the way. Sellers. Green is gonna be buyers that are coming in. The white that you see is if there's buying that's happening at the mid price.
Gotcha.
So, but on Thinkorswim, there's no white orders. It's just only red and green.
Okay, cool.
What you really want to pay attention to, you want to pay attention to price. Are they buying at the ask? Are they buying above the ask? Like you want to pay attention to that too. Buying above the ask is going to move that in that particular stock, right?
Yeah.
And you want to, and then look at the volume. The volume of how much they're buying as well is very important.
Okay. No, great. Thank you. That's a perfect answer.
Sure.
So yeah, I think we'll start to wrap things up here. Keep this video under 2 hours, and because this will be on YouTube as well, guys. If you want to go back and rewatch it, and it will also be under Twitch, under my Twitch channel, under videos, as soon as I click end stream, so you guys can check that out. But to kind of wrap things up, is there anything that you think we missed that you want to cover, or if you want to shout anybody out? And I'd love to hear more about the room that you run at Elite Capital, if you want to kind of talk about that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started Elite Capital because at that time, I started it just last year in January, At that time, there were no rooms that were doing live trading, and I feel like that live trading, especially when you're scalping, is everything.
Yes.
By the time I'm writing out a signal, it's gone.
Yeah. 100%.
You know, hearing it in real time, and also I feel like it as a new trader, we're essentially spoon feeding you, and that's what we do in my Discord. We're an awesome community. We like to have a lot of fun and bullshit around too, but when it's game time, it's game time. Like it's a light switch, right?
Mhm.
Most of the time in trading, you're sitting around, you're waiting. Who the fuck wants to wait by themselves? Like nobody.
Yeah.
You want to be able to talk about the market, bounce ideas off each other, even bullshit around or whatever. And you know what? We keep it so like lighthearted that if you're taking a loss that day, you're not gonna even feel it because you're gonna just be chilling with everybody else, like
Right.
And so it takes your mind out of doing it solo and having it where you essentially let your mind kind of take over and all the negative talk comes in. When you're in a server or in a community like ours, that goes away. That's number one. That's what we like, is the community basis of what we do, right? But number two, like I was going back to, was that spoon feeding aspect. I give my entries and my exits, and it sounds like this, right? So let's just say that I'm going to be taking Apple, hypothetical. So I'm taking Apple above 180 for calls, guys. I got the 185 calls loaded, weekly contracts. All right, I'm watching Apple. Okay, I'm in Apple. All right, guys, we're up 30%, up about 40% now. I'm going to go ahead and trim some. So for me in particular, just because I typically am trading a large size, I'll go ahead and trim 70% of my position. And then I'll say, okay, cool, we're at 60% now. I'm going to go ahead and trim some more. At that point, I'm trimming 20% of my position. And I'll say, okay, guys, I'm going to let 10% ride at break-even stop loss. Let's move on to the next trade. It's that quick.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah, so you give the entry, you give the whatever your exit is, and then the cool part about it is when I'm in the trade, I like to go over what I'm looking at on the tape. I'll be like, okay, guys, I see stack sellers are sitting at this level right now. Not really liking it right now, but there's some volume coming in. We're gonna stay in this trade, so they can essentially see on their screen what I'm looking at as well. It teaches them.
Right.
They're
Yes.
literally being taught by doing it.
100%.
So yeah, so that's the main educational part. But we do weekly classes, Q&As like throughout the day. I mean, I do them on Spaces as well. The shitty thing about Twitter Spaces, I don't know if you noticed this, there's a delay.
Is
And
there
there's
really?
a delay of there's a delay. The listeners between 15 to about 30 seconds. In
Oh.
trading, that's a lifetime, dude. In
Yeah.
scalping, it's
Wow.
so the crazy part was I took this SPX trade last week and banked on it really quick. It was same day expiration contract, right? I took 40% on the trade and I was out. I got DMs from so many people like, by the time that you said, you were out, like it was down already because it was
No
such a quick
way.
scalp trade.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's the delay in the Twitter Spaces. So, Discord's cool because you can ask questions in the chat or whatever. There's so many educational channels. So, I definitely recommend it if you're new, but I also recommend that you learn what options are before starting. This isn't a get rich quick shit like Steam.
Yeah.
It's not like that. This is always going to be a marathon. It's never going to be a sprint. If you want it to be a sprint in your life and you want to come up on quick money, I implore you to go and gamble elsewhere. Go sports bet. Because
Right.
in sports betting, there's no theta. There's no
Yeah.
IV.
Yeah.
There ain't shit against you. Either you win or you don't, right? So, yeah, I implore you to definitely do something like that. But again, like if you want to come into a room that it's myself and there's 3 other admins and we're live trading throughout the day, bouncing ideas off of each other, teaching, educating, whatever it is. We even have our own tax guy in there.
Oh, cool.
He's our CPA. He will talk to you about traders tax. He does, I also brought him on Twitter Spaces a couple times, but he does, free seminars for you to get, the biggest bang for your buck of what you can and you can't write off, what wash sales are, all that information.
Wow.
We want to be the one-stop shop. That's what we want to be.
No, nobody does that. I've never heard that. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, this is all stuff again, like, we have a lot of beginners in our chat, but we have like a lot of people who've been just trading for a super long time and they just like being in there. There's some people that are like, I'm here for the vibes, and I'm like, hey,
Sure.
that's cool, whatever
Yeah,
you want to
yeah.
be here for. Yeah, but I mean, again, right, we're a community in that aspect. To also like kind of wrap up other things though.
Yeah.
One of the things I think I didn't mention was taking the quality trades versus taking the quantity trades.
Right.
I think coming into the market, there's 50,000, I don't know how many ever tickers. You can pick and choose what you want to take. And then you have your buying power of, how much you're able to take per day, right? I think a lot of people, they want to trade and be a part of something just to be a part of it, like just to be in the trade in case it goes or whatever.
Right.
And I think people fail to remember that cash is also a position. That if there's anything that's helped me in my life, it's knowing that cash is a position. It's okay to not be a part of a trade 24/7. It's okay to just sit on cash, wait for a right entry. And I relate that to another one of these analogies that I use, right? So it's a surfer. So if you're a surfer and you go out and you paddle out into the water, right? There's many waves that go by, similar to when you're trading stock. There's many stocks that are gonna go by you during that time, right? And you're not gonna take the entry, right? So many entries are coming up, you're just not gonna take it. But what does the surfer do, right? They wait for that one perfect wave, the quality wave, right? The same way that you wait for that quality entry. Every fucking thing has to align. Talking about the volume has to align, time and sales have to look good, level 2 has to look clear, overall market sentiment has to be, your particular way of what you're looking at or whatever. The chart looks great, you're sitting in a potential bull flag, everything looks perfect. All these things have to align. And even if there's one thing that isn't there, that means that even if it's like, for me, if it's 100% no on one of those, that variable, that means that it's 100% no. Even 1% to me is 100% no. That means I'm not going to take that trade. But let's just say that you do want to take that trade. Everything is aligning. Just like a surfer, you start paddling with that wave and then you ride the wave. Just like a trader, you're pressing the buy button. You press the buy button, but what do you do during that time? You don't abandon your plan. You have these things in your mind called an if-then statement. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Yeah.
If-then statements are essentially, this is the best psychological tool I've ever used. If Tesla breaks below 890, then I will exit my position. If Tesla breaks above 890, then I will enter calls. If Tesla breaks above 900, then I will take profit. Like all of these things in the market, because having a plan before is great, right? It gives you preparation. But damn, dude, I'm like choking.
Are you okay?
I'm choking on my words, dude.
No, you're good. Happens to me when I have
I just drank some water.
Yeah, happens to me with coffee all the time. You're good.
Dude, see, that's what it was.
Yeah,
Fucking coffee.
I know, right? Every time.
Screw this coffee. Anyways, so basically getting back to that, these if-then statements, that's something that helps you. It helps you be reactive in the market. Like sitting there and basically trying to predict the market is bullshit. If it was that easy, we'd all be millionaires.
Yeah.
If you could buy an algorithm for 5 bands, right, and say that this algorithm is going to work, right? This has a 99% probability or whatever. That's bullshit. We'd all buy the algorithm. We'd all master the market. We'd all full port every single time. We'd be rich.
Right.
So being reactive in the market is everything. When you're trading price action, you have to be reactive. And if that trade's not going your way, you have to react to that. If that trade is going your way, you have to react to that every single time. So just like a surfer in the water, you got to know when to exit that wave the same way you need to know how to exit that trade.
Yes.
So if you related to that, like that's another sport that I relate to. Usually it's boxing or it's being a surfer in the market. That keeps me from taking quality. That keeps me from not taking these shitty trades, these quality of trades that everyone just wants to be a part of, and FOMOing and invention and all that bullshit, and just keeping it to the quality of trades. And what does a surfer also not do though? When the water is choppy, surfer doesn't surf. The same way when the market is choppy, you don't get into shit. You just wait. You wait for that perfect setup.
Damn, that's a savage analogy. I love that.
I mean, it works, right? Like,
yeah, it's perfect.
You gotta relate this market to life.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like, I always bullshit with my friends, right? We talk about, signing a prenup. Dude, that's risk management. That's protecting your downside.
Yeah, yeah.
Something happens.
Literally.
You can apply the market to your life every single day. I love to do that.
Yeah, 100%. No, that's so funny. Yeah, we have like at my job we have trending for like, I don't know, flows that pumps can push out or whatever, and every time I pull up a trend I'm like, yeah, that's where I'd buy right there. It's like,
Yeah.
It's like, shut up. My coworkers hate it.
That's
But
what I'm saying, dude.
yeah,
You'll be looking at the market like, yeah, it's sitting in a bull flag, right? In your mind, it's a bullshit flag. That means that
yeah,
it's not anything. You just think it is.
right,
You
right.
know, but that's one aspect of it, and like another thing that definitely helps me in being able to take profit. Like everyone's always asking me, "Oh, how do you know when to take profit?" Dude, relate your profits, like as small as they are, to something tangible in life. I used to
Right.
do this. I used to relate it to like, this is my, all right, $60, cool. That's my dinner and my drinks
Yeah.
for the night or whatever. Um, let's just say, $100, that's my phone bill. 120 bucks, well, that's my car insurance. Like you have to relate it to something. I started relating it to the dollar menu at McDonald's. You want me to tell you why? This shit works right here. Or the Costco hot dogs. You guys have Costco's in Canada?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're the best.
Yeah, Costco hot dog.
They're
100. It's
fire.
$1.50, right?
Yeah.
Is it $1.50?
Yeah, it's cheap.
Yeah. Dude, this is the best meal ever, right? All right, so the cool part about it though is it teaches you what abundance is, right? So if I say I made $50, maybe it doesn't sound like a lot. If I say I made 50 fucking McChicken sandwiches from McDonald's,
Let's
you
go.
could feed your whole family.
Uh-huh.
Hell yeah, you feed your whole family. Your whole fucking neighborhood gets fed. Now it's abundance. So if you like psychologically think of those numbers like that is something that will help you be able to take realized gains, right? Like and being able to actually like lock in those gains every single time if you relate it to something like that. That is something that has helped me tremendously. Because you see these big ass gains like on Twitter, right? And you want to be that person every single time, so you buy and you hold for the longest time. I will one thing about myself is I'll never let a green trade go red ever.
Yeah, yeah.
If it's screenshot worthy, dude, that's your time to take profit. Like that's the one rule.
Right.
Screenshot worthy. If you take a screenshot, you send it to your buddies and everybody else on Twitter and shit, and say, "Look at my percentage gain." Yeah, that's your time to probably take profit right
Yeah, that's the top.
Yeah, that's the top. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. Once again, thank you so much for coming on. Simply, I truly, truly appreciate it. This was a ton of fun. I'm sure we could go on for hours, but I do want to keep the video somewhat shorter for YouTube.
Definitely.
Yeah, so thank you for coming on. So Coach does have a question. I don't know if there's we could just answer quickly, I guess. But do you use moving averages, and which ones do you use?
Yeah, I have the currently been using the 20-day moving average, and then I just use the Bollinger Bands. I don't.
Nice.
The cool part about the trading in the style, and as you know this, man, is like you really don't need any indicators. Indicators are lagging anyways.
Yeah.
You know, you really don't. When you're trading straight price action off of supply and demand, I can just look at a candle. I don't even. I don't even have to look at the candle. I can just look at time and sales and level 2 and know what I'm doing.
Yeah. No. 100%.
Yeah, it's that wild to be able to trade in this way, but again, remember like indicators are lagging at all times, so use them mainly as assistance, but don't rely on them fully.
Right, like a confluence sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. Okay. So it says just got off work, joining in now. I'm sorry, you joined at the end. You joined at the top. You're taking calls at the top right now. No, it's all good.
Yeah, dude.
This will be available to rewatch as soon as I hit end. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you for your great questions in chat. I truly appreciate it. We'll have to do another session, maybe part 2 in the future. There's lots more to talk about. But once again, thank you Simply for coming on today. You can find her on Twitter, Simply_Sim1, and she's got her link tree there where you can access all of her great trading tools and the room that she manages. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah. Sorry. Anything you want to shout out or say to kind of wrap up?
No, just appreciate you having me on. This was a lot of fun. Usually these are super serious, so I enjoy the humor. Definitely had a good time, and thank you for having me on once again. It's an honor to do this every single time, and I hope I was able to answer anybody questions and things that they have. If for some reason I missed something, guys, my DMs are open on Twitter. Although I maybe won't be able to respond to you right away, I definitely take a look at those, and I try to give out as much information as I can on there too. So, don't feel shy. with me, there's no such thing as a dumb question. I started off somewhere too. I never forget where I started off at. I was the biggest dumbass in the market. If I could figure it out, you could too. Don't give up. And just know that, if you guys need help with anything, there's people here to help, because I'll never forget where I came from being new at this. So, keep that in mind. And audience, you guys are phenomenal. Thanks for being great. I read some of your guys' messages in the chat, and I was just I was muting myself because I was laughing.
Let's go.
They're cool as hell.
I'm fired up. Premier says, thanks, great inspiration info, and how it really works. And King wants to know if we'll let people know when we trade together, and we'll have to do that for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I'm ready when you are, so let's do it.
Awesome. I love it. Okay, thank you, Sim. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, have a good one, guys. Take care.
You too. Take care. All right, guys, that was Simply Sim. You can find her out on Twitter, simply_sim1. Go check it out. Hit her with the follow. Let's get her to 20K. Yes, sir. And, yeah. So, monthly. It's a monthly fee. I forget how much it is. I don't think we mentioned that, actually. But you can check it out. The link's there. I'm going to pop on the outro music here. And I hope you guys have a great Saturday, okay? Make sure you step away from those screens for the rest of the day. You've earned it. You've earned it. No more charting. No more, or do it. Or do it. I don't know. Have a great day, guys. Supposed to go live again tonight with Stock Talk Weekly. I'll let you guys know if that is still on. I got to shoot him a DM. And then Sunday, I think I'm recording a podcast. So might not be a stream Sunday, and we'll be back Monday night. I believe I'll be live Monday night with the legendary Maple Stacks. I can't wait, dude. You want to read about it? So that'll be sick. Definitely want to join in for all this great content coming. We got lots planned, lots on the way. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm your host, 100 a million, and I love you. 100 out.